Ladies and gentlemen, as you can hear in the background, the wonderful announcer is telling us that we're into our reserve time and we can get into the draft as I move across the lovely overlays and Team Spirit against Empire appear before your very eyes. Game number 2 in this best of 3 as Team Empire, they took game number 1 in some spectacular fashion with Chappie Meepo. I'm Gareth, joined by Gods, and game number 2, are you expecting anything different from either of these teams?
I guess we'll get something different because bands are different, so we won't see Centaur, we won't see Lone Druid. Not that either hero was necessarily like the influential picks that game. I think the Meepo and that Ogre Batrider lane are like the kind of most prominent parts of that opening game, although Lone Druid was still Lone Druid. But this will mean, yeah, the sliders get through, and I guess the Sniper was that game 1 ban. I'm a bit surprised by that, but maybe something Empire will go for, given that the Lone Druid is not an option for them.
Well, first pick Slardar for Team Spirit. It's something that a lot of teams have been seeing success with in the 4 role. We very rarely see it in the offlane anymore. Just buy Windlace or Boots, roam around, but does sometimes struggle to get into the Blink Dagger if you're playing, if you're not playing greedily enough. If you've got someone like an Earth Spirit following you around, or an Ogre chasing you around the map if you're trying to make actions, or even a Clockwork once he gets his levels up. But Shadow Demon for Empire, we don't see this hero a lot in really any other regions. Europe doesn't play it, Southeast Asia rarely does, but in the CIS lands a lot. They've been picking this up still a fair amount.
Yeah, still popular. Spirit immediately reply with an Ursa, which is laning wise against the clock, like is alright. You're pretty good at zoning him. Even if he burns your money, you still got the Fury swipes to stack up damage. But Clockwork later on has pretty good control to kite around the Ursa with. Is naturally going to build into a 4-staff. The cogs can push Ursa around. The hook shots are good disable. So not necessarily like I don't think they picked up Ursa because the Clockwork was there. At least in my mind, I think this was something they wanted to grab regardless. Spirit just perhaps seeing as kind of a pseudo comfort pick for themselves.
Yeah, they've picked it in like over half the games. I think like 60% of their games or something has had an Ursa. And looking at the draft, it's kind of been Ursa plus Slardar a lot of those times. Sometimes with a Wisp, sometimes with Shadow Demon or Disruptor. But it's the Slardar with that Corrosive Haze, the minus armor helping us to do a hell of a lot of damage onto them. But you're talking about the control of Clockwork. Even Shadow Demon with Demonic Purge, with the Disruption, they've got good ways of kiting this Ursa in team fights as well.
Yep. Yeah, that's where I was like, would you really want to play Ursa into Shadow Demon Clockwork? And I'm like, no. The answer is definitely no.
Definitely no.
But you want to play it with Slaughter is definitely that is also true. So I think Spirit's drafting for them, like focusing on their own draft and making sure they have heroes with good synergy rather than worrying too much about what the opponents have done. I think there is perhaps like a middle ground where you've got to find some level of balance between the two. But for now, Spirit just ensuring to have some good combo play possible between the Slaughter Ursa.
Well, secondary phase of bans, Tinker and then Sniper. Okay, Sniper Slardar has always been in the wheelhouse of CIS teams with that nice little vision and assassinate, minus arm and all that nonsense. While Shadow Fiend, is that indicative of anything, or is that just we don't want to play against SF?
These are the two bans are, to me, the two carries you want to play against minus armor physical damage. Right, Slaughter is perhaps struggles most against Terrorblade and SF just because they have perhaps I think the highest like armor of like any kind of common meta heroes in the game. Terrorblade especially, like whenever I see Slaughter lifesteal, like I think TB is one of the best carries to play just because of his huge armor means he's not as susceptible to dying to the physical damage. And SF, he's already pretty high armor and he builds into lots of stat items, so he generally gets pretty high armor as well. So I think these are just heroes that match up well against Slaughter Ursa. They get Hurricane Pike, so they get 4-staffs as well. They can kite those heroes around pretty well.
That's very true. Agi heroes that buy mobility items always going to be the bane of these tanky melee heroes that like to get up in your face. Disruptor, we talked about earlier on, kind of almost negates the kiting power of Team Empire and helps and enables the Ursa to have at least one target that you can definitely latch onto and look for that kill with the aid of Slardar.
Yeah.
But Leshrac for Team Empire. SD Leshrac, roaming duo.
All right. Yeah, I'm curious to see how they'll play this, whether it's going to be more like a dual lane setup with like a Lesh clock lane, or if they actually do stick them together, roam around the map, go for some smoke plays, try and get some kills on enemy offlaner. They pick up Magnus, so we'll see probably just some kind of safe lane carry that can benefit from the Empower here. And Magnus is, with a Clockwork, you're looking to play like Magnus as a more greedy core. Probably see that popular Dendy build with like the Echo Saber Blink.
Shadow Blade and
Yep. Max in power early, and just play for like a more farming style Magnus.
5 seconds remaining.
What do you think about Team Empire running an aggro tri-lane here with Lesh SD +1? Disruptor's not the best defensive tri-lane hero. Gets run over very quickly. Ursa can like turn and fight, but if you've got a lot of
possible. I think Slaughter could just go like Slaughter is actually like okay in like a tri-lane versus tri-lane scenario. That's what you see. Like as much as you pick the Slaughter to be that 4-position roamer, if you need to protect your safe lane, you can do that. And I think for Empire, it would work if they could get like a Luna type hero, but they want to melee carry most likely. I think you're not picking the Magnus to go into like a ranged hero. So most likely, like I guess the best melee is like a Jug or something.
I can get behind that. Lifestealer may be an option for. Oh no, never mind. Against an Ursa, that's the hard thing, right? Against Ursa, you don't really want to pick Jug or Lifestealer because it's so scary in that matchup in team fights. You just get swiped down.
The other hero is pretty nice is Troll with the Magnus. We're seeing quite a bit of, and you've got the blind against the Ursa. You can enrage it off, but if you want to hold the whirling axis till you see the enrage, you always can do that. He's also pretty high. I mean, similar to the Jug, both high agi heroes that have pretty high armor that aren't going to get completely blown up.
I like that actually. Troll Warlord could be cool.
Yeah, it beefs up Magnus's damage. Give him the battle trance as well. So definitely a decent pick. Doesn't maybe push as well as a Jug. Jug's got the healing ward, the sustain, something that Empire's draft doesn't currently really have.
You will have SD illusions though.
Oh yeah, that's actually. Well, that's where Troll's perhaps better because you can make the ranged illusions and then you can go melee form for the Empower fighting capabilities. So that could be a nice option, but I'd be very surprised if Spirit doesn't ban like one of those melee carry options, be it the Troll, the Jug. Maybe we saw the Slack earlier today from Navi. That's another decent option. Maybe actually Slack is going to be better this game. It's pretty good at getting out of the Corrosive Haze. You just hit the Ursa. If he ever goes on you, you pop the Shadow Dance. You get a lot of Essence Shift charges, but bursting Disruptor may be a bit of a deterrent.
Oh, there's a lane-winning matchup if I've ever seen one. TA against Magnus, if that is going to be the 1v1 mid. Templar Assassin has a good old time there. Also gives you a little bit of minus armor to add into what Slardar has. Good slow for chasing down heroes like Lesh and SD if they're on the retreat. Because Team Empire, they kind of feel like they want to be the initiators, right? They don't have great ways of drawing out and sustaining team fights until they get like Ags on Clockwork and mobility and damage on Magnus. It's more of a catch one, kill one, and then see what you can do with the rest of the fight. While Team Spirit have so much sustained damage, they don't really rely on too many big cooldowns.
Yeah, they can just keep on fighting. The one thing is they are kind of all in on physical damage right now. It's all this single target physical damage as well, so it is kind of a bit one-dimensional, and that's something that can be dealt with by getting Force Staffs, getting Solar Crest, just getting armor items, and at a certain point you may be able to just use itemization to beat the Spirit draft, but even though it's one-dimensional right now, I don't really feel like Empire has the best heroes to beat it with. If Clockwork can have a good game, get items, get Force Staffs, get an Ag Scepter later on for the short cooldown, perhaps that will allow him to being annoying and kite these heroes around. But until they get those Force Staffs and Ag Scepters and whatnot up, the kiting is just not going to happen.
Dire team pick.
With Darkseid, maybe that brings it all together. The nice synergy hero there. Drag them into Static Storm or the Vacuum Crushes if Slardar gets a decent time on Blink.
Yeah, that's a fantastic last pick. That kind of is like the glue for their draft. It pulls everything together, gives them team fight that they were. I mean, they had all right team fight with Slardar Disruptor. They had a good Blink's Uninitiated with a Static Storm follow up, but the Darkseid gives them like a really like scary team fight. And Empire Chaos Knight. I didn't see this coming.
Nope.
Theory crafted potential Empower heroes. Chaos Knight was nowhere near even a thought or blip on the radar, and it's going to be the last pick for Team Empire.
Yeah, we're seeing it come up time and time again against TA. I mean, we saw the Brood ban just now by Empire, and I was going to bring that up earlier in the draft when they picked Ursa Slardar, because it was something they did yesterday, I believe, for DK Phobos, the famous Broodmother player. But against Leshrac Magnus, I didn't, or even Clockwork, I didn't think it would be a possibility, but I was still a little bit scared of it. But CK is a hero that we're seeing a lot against TA. You've got illusions to burn through the refraction, you've got kind of ability to displace TA when she's in meld as long as you have dust or sentries. You're pretty good against Ursa because he can't clear through illusions, and I think that's probably a common thread here for Team Spirit heroes is they can't kill CK illusions.
Yeah, if CK can get just a couple items and farm at a decent rate, the illusions will be a big problem because
Prepare for battle.
I guess Psyblades is going to give them some okay clear. Iron Shell's like so-so, depending on how like tanky and how many items CK gets. It starts to get like kind of diminishing effect as the game goes on, but yeah, we'll see how well this CK works. I think he does struggle to keep up in terms of farm, and those first couple fights, like around the Slider blink timing, around the Darkseer mech, around Ursa's blink dagger or Helm of the Dominant, I think he does struggle, and he needs a lot more farm, and he doesn't farm fast. So I think the hero definitely has some weak points, but we'll see how Empire can make him work this game.
Yeah. I wonder if he'll go for that Hand of Midas into Armlet that we've seen from CK's, kind of like you're saying, to make sure they do get that farm, but he's also got Empower. It will be FN playing the Magnus.
30
Ghost Stick's got the
seconds to
Clockwork, Chappie takes up the Chaos Knight and is lurking around that offlane rune spot, while King R's Shadow Demon's walking over with Miposhka playing the Shadow Demon.
They have played like one Chaos Knot game like a month ago on Empire. It was in DAC qualifiers, and he did go for the Midas Armlet build back then. So I perhaps expect something similar, but that was a month ago, and they haven't done any Chaos Knight in these qualifiers so far. So who knows how Chappie has changed how he plays the Chaos Knight in that
the
time.
battle
But
begins.
does put Chappie into the carry role again. We won't see him in the mid lane once more without the Meepo being picked, and we'll see how Empire managed to make things work here.
Now, I was wondering if maybe Empire goes for the aggro lane, but Ghost Stick goes towards bottom. We're looking at Vanscore as well as BZZ up at top. Disruptor and Ursa playing an aggro dual lane. But they're up against, what, CK, Lesh plus Shadow Demon? This is so scary.
They were thinking they were dodging lane. I think they felt the aggro trailing was happening, and it looked like initially it was. I saw CK at the start with the lanes poised to go to the bottom lane, and then suddenly there was like a late switch up, so Ursa picks up a TP, and I don't think he wants to stay in this top lane.
Time to leave. Time to get the hell
TP
out
out?
of this lane,
Whoa.
yeah. He doesn't get spotted by the SD, and Vanscore sticks around a little bit longer. Wait, TP'd back to Fountain?
Yeah, that's a misclick,
dear.
imagine.
Yeah, probably just double tap.
It was like, yeah, exactly. It's just like in a panic, like, oh crap, the Shadow Demon's running in these trees. I need a TP right away. And yeah, double taps just to go for the fast TP. But we'll have to make the walk of shame back to lane.
GK Phobos still gets to stick around on this bottom lane. Clarity cancelled out by Ghost Stick, who's gone for 1 point in Rocket Flare, as well as those cogs, but we'll see the Ursa join in and find the lane for now.
That's really annoying, like losing your clarity there as a Darkseer. Like Iron Shell costs a lot more mana than it used to. It's received a few nerfs over the last patch or so, and losing your only clarity at this stage when you still haven't got your Soul Ring could be influential. And also the neutral creep gets lost, so Clockwork last hits out with the Rocket Flare, and yeah, DK Phobos not going to hit that Soul Ring timing that he needs to sustain the Iron Shell spam. He can't really go jungle. Probably doesn't really want to go top lane either. I think the jungle is where he wants to spend his time, so he's just going to have to use that shrine early on with the TA.
No,
perhaps.
you can't use the mid lane as shrine gods. You can't do that.
I'd be raging.
I'd get so angry, especially because Iceberg isn't winning this lane, you know? He's actually behind in CS by a whole wave.
That's where you tell him, just go trade hits. You're like, Iceberg bro, I'm shrining, so come on over here. Trade hits with him if you have to. But the gank's coming his way. He needs to survive this first.
FN, do you have a skewer? No. Empower, level 2 shockwaves coming up in a second. The fairy fire, nope. Not gonna be enough. Not gonna be enough. TA gets found by the roaming duo of Miposhka as well as King R. And that shrine's still up, sure, but this is looking pretty disastrous already for Team Spirit.
Yeah, that's concerning. These lanes have not gone how they would have liked them to. They didn't really probably want the Darkseer to be in the jungle from the get-go, but making the move from bottom lane all the way up top was not something that he really had in mind after losing his clarity and losing that hit kind of some of his early game effects. So we'll see what the plan's going to be here. It was the more standard draft from Team Spirit, but this laning setup has got Empire off to a good start with some rotations, and they followed the Ursa. So wherever the Ursa goes, that's where the supports are going to go.
And they'll try on them right now. It looks like with the setup stuns, they've got so much damage between them. And BCZ's Ursa, what's he sitting at now? 11 CS and 5 denies. He's currently at level 3. This Team Empire draft is just, like you said, following him around, finding the kills on him. And it's just making so much space for Ghost Stick. He's now up to, level 4 almost. FNG. Well, I guess this 4-0 Slaughter has found a lot of space in the meantime as well, but Where's that kinetic field? Vanscore looking for observables. I thought maybe he'd found someone, but just scouting out to see what he can see up atop the hilltops.
So like, TA is not winning mid lane, it's just an even farm battle for now with that kill coming his way. FN not only got a kill, but has managed to kind of hold his own in terms of CS as well, just having the early empower, having the shockwave spam, and Slaughter's rotation in is not going to catch him by any means, so looks like FN's just going to head bottom, hope for a rune, which he is going to get as well, so Lady Luck will favor Team Empire for that rune spawn, and he will back off.
Miposhka, he spots a couple. Nice little stun there. The gun's back into FNG's crush. We'll find him. The kinetic field is dropped, but Miposhka gets trapped in, and TA joins the fight. But in comes King. Oh, there's a disruption to slow things down. Another stun lands. So refraction will keep Iceberg happy and healthy for now.
That's Soul Catcher Edict damage. Dang, Slaughter was melting. Soul Catcher to amp damage, Guardian Sprint to amp it, and the Edict just meant he was melting. Level 2 Edict early on, so we are seeing the Edict build, which is perhaps less conventional for the support Leshes. I feel like I'm seeing more of the Lightning Storm. At least earlier today, Ironman on his Lesh for Na'Vi was going that build, but with the setup for your stun, you don't need the Lightning Storm as much as a setup, and you've got a more reliable source of damage.
And I guess
thanks to having a Shadow Demon on your team.
Yeah, I guess against the TA, having the Edict pops to get through the refraction quicker is incredibly helpful. Yeah. And it's so sad for the TA because usually when you hit 6 as the Templar Assassin, you know, you place traps down, double trap on the enemy ramp, and you wait for them to come for the creep wave, and then you run at them and kill them, maybe even dive under their tier 1. Against a Magnus who has Skewer, it's not even possible. So TA is, you know, breaking even in this lane, which potentially she should have been winning if not going down that initial time, and then looking for further kills. But Magnus, he's got stacks in the jungle galore. He's stacked Ancients for himself. He's got a large camp to take, and FN is going to start racing ahead in terms of net worth.
Oh yeah, he's not going to go for RP. I probably will go for a similar build to what we saw earlier today from Dendy, which is going to be like no RP until like level 9 or level 10 or something. Just max out Shockwave and Empower as much early as possible. They don't need to necessarily find kills with the Magnus. They're happy just for him to farm away. You've picked a Clockwork as your offlane, and this is one of the offlanes that gets less farm compared to others, and as a result, they want Magnus just to play a greedy game.
Well, speaking of greedy, FNG has left the top lane where he was getting some CS levels, finds a bounty rune to maybe tide him over for now, but they're looking towards bottom. The rotation into the Darkseer's lane, not something you see too commonly. Oh, top. BZZ nearly gets caught. King R doesn't have the vision, but he does now. The rocket comes through and they found him. They just need a stun, a rift, and kill that Ursa. Final swipe of Chappie's sword will club him down, and in the meantime, did anything happen bottom lane? Nothing.
No, CK TP top, so they rotated there and CK TP'd out of the lane as the gank came his way and got the kill top, so he gets money towards his Midas. And I think it was really important they leave that kill. I mean, it would be fine if they didn't get the kill, the Chaos Knight, but it helps him a ton, giving him that faster Midas now. And we'll see Chappie just 300 gold away from that, able to bring out the recipe once the courier is freed up.
Well, where's Clockwork sitting now? Level 6 is one creep away. And from there, he might just go and regen up and look for these hook shots in. Maybe start this 3-man roaming squad between the SD and Lashrak, who have created so much chaos. But they do have to always worry about their own levels and their own farm, right? Because you can roam, you can kill, you can do all this lovely stuff, but if you don't have your levels on your supports, if you're not at least leeching experience from lanes, or you're not sat on a lane for a minute and a half or 2 minutes, maybe to get towards that level 6, things can slip out of control relatively quickly.
Yeah, the Slaughters, as far as supports go, doing the best in terms of levels until now.
Unless you do
He's
this.
gone down.
Yeah, unless you do this, unless you perpetually find kills, you know, the point I'm making is that sometimes the kills dry up, right? Sometimes the opponents, they start playing safely and you're not able to catch people constantly. But if Team Spirit are giving opportunities to Team Empire, then sure, continue doing what you're doing.
And they've given the Lesh the mid lane for a large part here. So Lesh will get some solo XP as well as farm, while the Magnus jungles it up. Magnus, if anything, is farming faster in the jungle right now with the Iron Talon and Power, so, and just constantly stacking camps. So he's got a nice little triple stack at his Ancients to perhaps farm with like a CK ultimate. I'm not sure he can farm that too easily himself. Top lane, DK Phobos almost got solo killed, by the way. Not sure. It looks like just a Phantasm was used for that one, but Barely survive and then get back to his shrine.
Oh, wow. What did he have to use anything? No, he's not leveled up wall just yet. Might have had to pop a vacuum or something to save him, but yeah. For now, it's Leech experience time for the Shadow Demon. That stack you were mentioning for the big old Magnus taken out there. FN clears through the majority of it. Does drop relatively low, but won't be able to bottle himself back up and take down the rest of the big ones. And what does this give level 6 yet to SD? Not quite. Halfway through level 5, and so's Leshrac, but they're making pretty good strides towards that. I guess Leshrac level 6 doesn't mean that much, right? I don't know if you even level up your ulti at 6.
Yeah, debatable. It's okay as like it's a pretty good value point. I think you might still, but
Yeah.
it's not like it's not a big game changer by any means. Could be a nice way just to burn that refraction a little bit faster when we
that's
go
true.
in, but the Edict does that for the most part
Dire's
already.
top tower is under attack.
And in the meantime, Ursa, bottom lane, yet to get his Helm of the Dominator. He's about to breach level 7, but there's people lurking around the side. Ghostic was maybe looking for an angle to find the Disruptor. A little bit worrisome though, with a glimpse available, of course, from Vanscore.
Yeah.
But they've seen Ghostic now, they know exactly where he's roaming around to, and they might actually set up a trap for him.
He needs to maybe hook his way out of this one to a teammate. The glimpse is going to be his undoing if he's not careful. Level 4 Disruptor though.
Is under
Oh,
attack.
nice. They get the disruption down. Now he's got a chance to cogs and maybe hook shot, but the illusion's in the way. Goes for that disruptor, and now there's no glimpse to save him. Vanscore's trapped in a cage of clockworks, cogs, and down he goes. The TA wants to fight, but Ursa's being chased down with a reality whip forward. Ghostic's still not dropped, but a good crush in from FNG onto 3, and now the RP catches out the Ursa. They're going to take him down with a Phantasm out from Chappie, but no, he's run away, sprinted out. FNG, another big crush, and FN, the Magnus is gone. DK Fomus backs back, and this is Team Spirit finally looking for a team fight they can win. Take down 5 heroes of Team Empire, and somehow nobody from Spirit dies? Oh, the Disruptor died, but he's respawned so quickly he's back into the fight.
Dire's top tower
Whoa, that was quite the rotation from FNG. Hits a 3-man crush, and he gets a 2-man crush. Just constant lockdown and control coming out from his Slather, and that really set them up to succeed. I felt like once they disrupted Ghostic and he survived, Empire could have just disengaged and just backed off and not fought there. But they just felt like, okay, we've got numbers. They had everyone rotating in, but so did Spirit. The RP only catches 1. FN's kind of gone for this farming build, so he wasn't really able to do that much damage. If he had his Echo Saber, perhaps it would have been different because he's a bit tankier with the stats, and he does a lot more damage with the double hit and the slow. But without the Echo Saber, this casual Oblivion stuff doesn't really do all that much in a fight like that. So didn't really have the best fighting presence. Same for the CK. He's got a Midas. Like, yeah, he's got levels and had an ultimate, but he's not really got an item that allows him to fight too well.
Yeah, and maybe if that RP had, caught the TA, it was kind of on the very edge of catching the TA and the Ursa. They maybe would have been able to continue that fight through, but Team Empire a little bit worried now about their chances, but they'll be given FNG. Crushes and tries to sprint away, but FN, he's got a Skewer and a Shockwave in a second. I don't know, FNG might survive this barely with, 20 HP? Now, there's the return. DK Phobos just waiting on the high ground, seeing
Dire's
if
top
Empire
tower is
continue
under
their walk
attack.
up onto that. Templar Assassin's been given so much room to breathe now. Farming Ancients, halfway towards Desolator, and Iceberg in a good spot to continue on.
Magnus was like 1k gold ahead of the TA, maybe even close to 1.5k, but after that fight, things have evened up a lot, but there will be continued Ancient farm on the Dire side as well. The stacking and jungle farm efficiency from Empire has been very impressive this game. It's definitely been, it's kind of a throwback to what I used to imagine the old EG used to do. EG used to be one of those teams that didn't really care about fighting the early game, getting kills, pushing towers. All they cared about was like stacking, jungling, pulling, and playing this farming efficiency game. That's what Empire's been doing here.
Like the old Cloud9 with EE when he really sort of revitalized stacking and farming jungle, right?
Yeah.
Back in those days. It's really a wonder to see. Now the group up mid, BZZ has his helm and he's aiming towards the blink, and I think they might smoke here with a number of their guys. FNG holds one, but it's Vanscore who pops it, and FNG's not joining them just yet. They're sending them over towards Roshan, but it's the rocket flare that scouts them. They just want to set up for the big man in the pit. BCC will go in after the rocket dissipates.
Did they go in? I feel like they went in before. Another rocket's going to go flying now anyway, so they will see it in a moment, but it may just be too late. And I think Spirit don't even care if they've been spotted because they know that they've got such a good positional advantage. The Helm of the Dominator creeps are good at just scouting and zoning heroes. You chuck a center on that little top of the ramp, and
Radiant's
any hero
bottom
coming in
tower
is going to get
is under
stomped.
attack.
Glimpse into a potential stomp.
Well, disruption to save. Leshrac, I think, is dead to rights here. And yeah, it's disruption into stomp, apparently. That little centaur has de-warded, has set up kills, and now is pushing a tower all on his own. You can even put an iron shell on him if you want. Unfortunately, get sacrificed there to the tower. BCC doesn't want to swap aggro off it. Just, well, let him die.
Yeah, it feels like Spirit's draft has kind of hit their stride now. They definitely had the more conventional draft. They had the draft that I kind of just felt was going to be a bit more convincing in a game like this. There wasn't any gimmicks with it. It's just pretty tried and true and tested draft, like very similar to what like a team like VP have been doing. You get the Darkseer plus Slaughter duo. You have the Disruptor to go with them as well, like that big team fight. A lot of good synergy here, and they've managed to kind of make it work when they can.
They tried to find the TA with a hook shot, but Iceberg had Refraction up now. Demonic Purge in, but the stomp with the Iron Shell onto Leshrac, slowly ticking him over. FNG's aiming for the crush, but FN will skewer actually the Slaughter back in, force the RP, so he's not crushed, but FNG could continue this chase, but a nice split earth. Koshka slows the advance, and I think Spirit now, I have to reconsider their options, but the aggression there, forcing Empire back, just whittling away at their HP totals, and now they move in, cut the wave mid, and look for a tier 2.
Desolator, they push at a pretty decent pace here, and I don't know if Empire really want to fight all too much. Chappie's in the top lane trying to just finish his next item or two. He has got the armlet coming on Courier, but even with an armlet, it still feels like he's going to struggle to fight into this combo with the vacuum in a crush or vacuum in a static storm. There's just a lot of good ways of taking team fights right now for Team Spirit. Empire need to be more disruptive. They need to use that clockwork hook to get the back lines. They need like Magnus getting a decent RP off, which until he's got a Blink Dagger may just not be possible. So much more difficult for Empire to play this game right now, and they're fighting into the Aegis, so more likely than not they're just going to avoid fights, try and push out these side lanes. Trading a tier 2 for a tier 1, while not sounding all that optimal, is ultimately going to be a trade that Empire will take if they can get it.
I'll try and shove bottom lane as well, but we're starting to see the kind of switch in the dynamic, right? For the first 10 minutes, we saw Shadow Demon Leshrac playing aggressively. Disruption always used to find an enemy target to set up this stun, but the past couple of minutes, it's been Disruption just try and save people, just because Team Spirit have been on the front foot for that period. And now Ursa's got his blink. You'd only think they're going to play even more aggressively as FNG sprints across. He's found an illusion. If they had the Iron Shell on him, if they found the real one, maybe they go in with a Static Storm and a little bit of help from BCC behind them.
I mean, that's a farming phantasm. He just used that to push the lane a bit faster, perhaps farm some neutral camps or something. He did not use that for a fight, and that really tells the story of this game right now. There is no intent from Empire to engage Team Spirit. They want to avoid fights, they want to play the farming game. They want to just wait for this Aegis to expire and until they have like a few more items before they try and do anything. Even when they've got more items, it looks like, yeah, Clock's going back for a Midas, so Ghost 6 saying, yeah, we're not fighting. He's not even going for the full staff or the kiting item.
FN, he skewered to high ground, but glimpsed back into the arms of the TA. The trap, not going to catch, but FN's okay. I thought maybe they had a little bit more to give, but FNG wasn't in the vicinity.
And they can drag this game long enough. Like, I definitely like Empire's draft. Like, late game. I think both teams have late game potential, but you've got good kiting for both Ursa and TA, with the Shadow Demon Purge, with the Clockwork, and with just 4 staffs being picked up. I think those heroes will start to fall off, but you've got to get there, and that's where they're trying to pick up these Midases. And yeah, we go. Clock's got his. And they are playing this greedy style, and if they can get away with it, it's going to look more hopeful for them the longer this game goes.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
for sure.
attack.
And Empire, they're just like sacking tier 1s, don't really care about too much in their jungle, try and get some sentries down around their shrine area, maybe to see some traps, but I've not found anything just yet. That sentry can actually see the trap up on the ramp, but no one wants to go into the darkness. You can't walk up high grounds, you can't walk up ramps, because you don't know where Team Spirit are. They could have 3, 4, 5 heroes just ready and waiting for you. I don't even know if, Empire even want to consider a smoke. Like you're saying, they just sit back, farm, wait for Roshan to take back the Aegis, which is about 1 minute and 20 seconds or so. And just buy yourself some time. But are you buying time for just the Magnus and the CK, or does Leshrac have to maybe transition into some of these bigger magic damage dealing items?
I think for the supports, it's less about the big items and more just, about 4 staffs, Solar Crest maybe. Just these, the kiting items. So you do want to buy time for these items, though. These are items that will ultimately be essential to win this game. and for your team to win team fights, but they're not like, yeah, big farming items. I don't think Lesh is going to be rushing into like a Bloodstone this game. I mean, maybe he'll prove me wrong and go for that, but I feel much better about him going for like a Yule
Scepter,
or
yeah.
a 4-staff, like
Radiant's top
even a Solar Crest, while unconventional, I think is a really good item against TA, Ursa, Slada. Lotus Orb could be good at some point. Like I think the utility items is where you want to go as a Lesh, not the carry items.
Even a Rod of Atos, honestly. Like Rod of Atos against Ursa and TA is pretty nice. Against the Darkseer, it's pretty good. Tanks him up, gives him some intelligence. I mean, it's not a conventional like escape item or a defensive item, but Ghost Stick jumped on by FNG and Hookshot's back in actually. Glimpse away and how they trap the Ursa inside the cogs with the Slardar. The chase. Looks like they want to continue this because they got the kinetic field and 2 hits out from TA. Okay, the Melt Strike clears straight through the Clockwork. Miposhka TP's out. And Empire, they lose the clock, but the fight, whoa, mid lane. FNG just goes in everywhere. I don't know, since that fight in the Radiant jungle, he's just been jumping into anyone he can find.
He's found his gusto. He's just feeling very confident. His team have got good mobility now with the blink on the TA. The Darkseer's got a blink, the Ursa's got a blink. They've got all this high mobility items to just constantly fight and be active with, and Empire can't really keep up with that. They're just trying to farm their way back into this one with the CK slightly. Has got his Echo Saber, so starting to get some extra stats and survivability for himself and his illusions. We talked about the lack of AoE for the Spirit side, and he's queued up a Heart of Tarrasque as his next item. So in theory, if it's CK can get like a Heart and get those level 3 Phantasm illusions, they may not be the best way of dealing with that on the Team Spirit side.
And you've always got to think about the big swing ulti of that Magnus RP. Oh, the smoke on Ghost Stick it gets popped, and Team Spirit, yeah, they've gone into full retreat here. Reverse mode, get the hell out. We don't know where they're coming from. They've got RP ready, and like you said, with the Echo Saber armlet on CK and powered up, they've got so much damage behind them. So Team Spirit, I think, just look to hold high ground, farm their own jungle for now, and not get caught when pushing this tier 1.
Yeah, looks like they'll regroup and try and wait to figure out what's going on.
They got dewarded as well. They don't have that high ground observer behind the tier 1 bot.
I really like the Helm of the Dominator usage by Spirit. They've got 2 of them. Darkseer actually went for one before his mech even, and they've used it to get both the Ice Armor from the Ogre Frostmage and also the Satyr, which is just constantly scouting around, but this is also really good for purging off Empower in these fights. If you can just purge these Empowers off, it just will negate a lot of the damage output of the melee carries.
Yeah, FNG's been going in, and I think that's the last time he'll try and go in like that.
That could lead to some big kills.
Oh, Hookshot comes
God.
across. Van Scott glimpses back the Clockwork and Disruptor. Oh yeah, goodbye. Reality Rift in. The TA does nice blink dodge there of the stun, but DK Phobos sprinting away with the Surge. BZZ will also get out. 2 supports gone, and Empire maybe with a chance to go and push tier 2 bottom lane. They've got the wave coming through. Tier 1 mid maybe would have been a good option, but that one move from FNG, you know, we've seen how ballsy he's been playing looking for openings. Sometimes he just goes that one little step too far.
I think going for the tier 2 bottom would have been Empire's one step too far. The respawn time's still fairly low, so
yeah,
looks like they'll back off Empire. Again, I think the game plan is very much one you got to stick to, which is play the farm game. Wait till you get a few more items. Even though you've got RP still, I think you want to try and take advantage of pickoffs more so than you want to try and force a 5-man fight. If you're grouping up down a lane, you're just setting yourself up to get Vacuum, Static Storm, Slaughter Crushed, and I think the pickoff game has worked better for them. The CK ultimate, if anything, is the big cooldown they need to use, and that's 60 seconds away. So until they've got that, I don't imagine Empire will be smoking or going for any kind of deep aggressive maneuvers.
Yeah. We're also seeing cool little things you can do here from Team Spirit with those Helm of the Dominator Centaurs and Creeps. They just send one with an hook shot off the mark. They just Iron Shell a Centaur, send it in, and they cut waves. They're shoving lanes without committing a hero or committing multiple heroes to try and do that. But Roshan will be up soon, about 1 minute and 20. As Chappie, he showed himself, and he's been spotted by a trap, unfortunately for him, into the kinetic field and the crush, and down he goes. The Chaos Knight, that big hero for Team Empire taken out, and now another one, maybe 2 hits and gone. King R, just waiting around.
Yeah, he gives him the +1. I mean, he was trying to be that dutiful support and just try and help out the Chaos Knight, sit behind him, but wasn't able to save him, and then gets caught himself. And I mean, we've seen Disruptor picked a lot with Slaughter with the amp damage, but also very good with the T8 traps. So they've got two really good scouting tools to set up these glimpses and to find kills with. Top lane though, well, FNG, we've seen this one a little bit before. He's going to get punished for some aggression.
Oh, Ghost Stick. Still going
Sorry,
to
got
die.
the minus off. Got the minus off.
It's on cooldown while he's dead. It's all good. It's all good. FN. I don't know if he looks to skewer this TA back. Okay. He just RPs her and skewers away himself, blinking back into base and regening up at one of these shrines. But again, that's RP on cooldown for 100 seconds when Phantasm is now up. Is that a big problem for them, or is it okay to kind of cycle between the two?
I think it's okay. I think it's not really necessarily cycling. I think it's more just Empire will just not fight. They're a team that's gonna, I guess it matters to the extent that Roche is respawned, so there's no way they contest Roche now with that RP, so it does matter, but I think overall big picture wise for Empire, they were going to be playing it slow and not looking to be the aggressors, so this just basically forces them down that route, which is the route which I think they wanted to take regardless. Roche was going to drop incredibly fast. You've got Slada, TA, Ursa. I don't think you were contesting that Roche even if you had every single big ultimate up, so the Roche will go Spirit's way, and with Roche, Aegis picked up, you are looking to avoid fights, so having no RP doesn't really matter unless a high ground push comes, but 50 seconds is going to be long enough for the spell to cool down.
Just keep avoiding fights until the fight comes to you, and try and defend some kind of choke point with that RP. Team Spirit, FNG, a little bit of restraint there. He knew there were heroes lurking around to this sort of bottom third of the map. He could have gone in, I think he was considering it, but he does walk back to regroup with the rest of his team. There's a couple of heroes flashing on the map here. You know, Miposhka's showed on top and shown that he's TP'd top. And that's what FNG is like spam pinging now, saying, guys, this Leshrax's alone. This guy has just TP'd here to farm. We've got a Purge creep to maybe slow him down a little bit. And the beeline, FNG is like sprinting, running straight towards this lane. As BZZ wants to join in as well, but I think Empire should know what's up. Or maybe not.
Maybe not, yeah. Should maybe just be a free little Lesh kill up here.
Yeah.
Not the end of the world. Again, it's that stage of the game where your opponents have Aegis, you're just looking to split push, avoid fights. Leshrac getting picked off kind of is avoiding fights. It gives your entire team info as to where they are. It allows Magnus to push out the mid lane. It allows a couple of heroes to push out bottom and maybe even go for a pick at bottom. TA is alone here, but not sure.
Ho. That was close. That was close. Nearly had her, but Iceberg gets the blink away quick on the fingers.
Even if he hits the hook, he likely blinks away because he had the refraction up too. So I don't think he gets that kill. He wouldn't be able to burn the refraction fast enough.
Well, they're smoking into Aegis now.
I mean, I guess they saw the TA and where she was headed and are hoping for a 5v4 fight. This is a ballsy maneuver, but it could pay off.
FNG, they've seen them come in. He pops the smoke, and what was that? A trap or a ward? No, he just saw the line of vision.
There was a ward that they just took out by the shrine. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, I see the little corpse of the ward now.
We've got another good ward on this cliff here. I don't see any good tower defense available. If anything, CK needs to not get caught by a glimpse here. I'm not liking Empire's position around this high ground ward.
Is there a way to turn off that stupid blue circle when you click on a ward?
I don't know. It's I'm not a fan. Yeah.
I just want it to it's a nice option, but I'd like to be able to turn it off. To be honest.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm just gonna stop clicking on wards actually.
It's nice, but it's really not nice, and I want it out of my game.
Yeah, I want to remove it now. But it's one of those things that would be cool if you could, hold Alt and it comes up. But I don't want it there permanently.
That's how I felt the first time I planted a ward with the new setting where it shows where it gives vision. I was like, this looks even though it's useful, it just looks so I don't know. It's like
you've left
chalk, rubber. I don't know.
You've left Dota and entered Tron or something. All of a sudden, everything's just changed the landscape of the map. Everything's gone a funky color. Right. High ground push coming in. Team Spirit.
And we're just sounding like typical Redditors here. I want to be able to hold Alt and it does this.
Yeah, I want everything to be customizable. I want all of my commands and options to be customizable to my personal preferences. This game's all about me. Oh dear. Well, Age is still on TA. The blink in, the two-man crush. They've got him actually with the sideblade splash back in. The Static Sword's perfect disruption will catch out this Magnus and keep him alive for now with the glimpse back in. The BKB down from FN. It's a hook shot. Don't know where it lands, but it's in the background somewhere with a back wall back again. Empire just being slammed here by Team Spirit. One by one, they're being dropped lower and lower. And deep inside this tier 3 is the TA. The RP back into the tier 4s. The damage coming through. And BZZ's found one. He looks for two, but FNG in the cogs does get taken out. But finally, the CK dies. Team Spirit, they're getting burnt down by Leshrac. The support Leshrac is killing them off. BZ's back through the wall, and Team Spirit retreat. But they've got heal, they've got sustain, and they've killed the two big heroes from Empire. But can they kill a tier 3?
Not sure. They're all. I guess they're starting to heal themselves back up a bit, but it's still not looking great for them. And you've used up the Aegis already. They need to be a little bit careful about this. 20 seconds on CK. Magnus's buyback. That fight could have gone so much worse than that. I don't think Spirit played that all too well. Luckily, CK's ultimate went off when he was already about 25% HP, so the CK illusions were very low HP.
Oh, that hook shot was sick. Slides in behind BZZ onto the TA, and Mimposhko with the Ghost Scepter, the damage output onto Iceberg. The refraction getting burnt through. He turns to fight King R, but again, he has no Aegis. Hurricane Pike in a second can actually turn to fight and maybe push himself down onto the low ground, which he does. Reality Rift. Chappie goes in. Disrupt is the target of choice, but he is alone. Gets glimpsed back into the danger zone, and this is where Team Spirit will likely take the first tier 3 in lane of racks for them. Ghost Stick retreating, but one more shot, the urn ticking him down. Oh, not going to be enough with the shrine to help him. FN, what do you have? Not too much. 15 seconds until RP, but with Desolator, with BZZ Ursa walking up onto high ground, chipping away, and the glyph has been forced.
This tag's giving just such good uptime for the Enrage on Ursa. He was on like, very low, close to 10% HP after that initial engagement, but he's just able to constantly have the Enrage up, so he's not all too afraid.
Hook shot into Skewer. Up. Oh no. No. BZZ jumps in. The BKB's there from FN, but this is disastrous. The Ursa pops the in range, but there's a Static Storm dropped in the back with a crush from FNG. And they have managed to slow this advance from Team Empire as CK is just respawning. They've killed off the melee racks, and now they just hightail it back to their base. Or maybe not. They've healed up. They've turned to fight. FNG didn't have the crush. Nearly had King R in his sights, but Vanskor will be the sacrifice. Maybe a little bit more here. Iceberg surged up. No! The Phantasm does nothing. He's popped it to try and kill, but the surge away onto the TA means she can freely walk away.
Some big long cooldown ultimates whiffing from Team Empire. First the RP onto the TA, then that Phantasm just casually used. I mean, at least Phantasm you can kind of throw it down the lane and farm a creep wave and get a tower in this case, but man, I don't think FN's going to be too pleased about that RP that he missed. He should have just used it earlier on top of the stun. He waited too long and TA like just blinked out. Yeah, you skewered the TA in, but you didn't do any damage to her because of the refraction. You've got to lock her down and burn through that refraction before she can blink out, and that is troubling for Team Empire, losing a melee rack. They still can scale decently well late. They've got this Magnus with the Empower build. They've got the CK now with the Heart of Taras completed. They do still have some ability to win these fights. Single target right-click damage can be dealt with, and that's exactly what CK is thinking. He's queued up a Talisman of Evasion as his next item. He wants to be able to have some evasion to deal with that.
I'm just thinking back to that fight and realizing that everything happened sort of 5 or 6 seconds before the CK was respawning as well. It was just almost a comedy of errors and missed timing. Empire, they've still got tools at their disposal, to defend high ground. I think both teams maybe are looking back at that fight and wondering, what went wrong on both sides and how to kind of remedy that. Maybe look towards FNG and Vanskor trying to get that initial jump in rather than having the TA need to walk up onto high ground. But Empire, they've timed this Roshan, seeing if they can get the fast spawn, and it'll be a decently speedy one. 1 minute until the big man's back up. But they have moved themselves all the way across to the polar opposite side of the map to Team Spirit. I don't know if they want to take the tier 1 top lane, because they might just lose their tier 3 bot if they try.
Yeah, that's what Spirit can do here, is just force them back to defend. That's exactly what they will do.
They go up. The glyph is already used as well. Like, that's hardly any commitment out from Spirit, and they've forced the glyph. The FNG Blink Crush won't land. BCC gets purged up and the hookshot's there. He enrages and gets force stabbed out. DK force back wall. There's the big one. And in they go. There's no Sandstorm. It's dropped down on top of the heads of 3. There's no disruption. There's no saving. And Miposhka has to walk into the middle of them. BCC, the RP. Who does it catch? The Disruptor. He's only got the 1 support. And now comes through FN. He does the right click damage. DK Phobos gets a double kill in the back end. But FNG still sprinting on through. And Iceberg stands his ground on the top of the ramp and throws the Sire Blades into the faces of Empire with CK the last man standing. You can only imagine these buildings will be dropping soon.
The impure elements distill to their essence.
Buyback out from Leshrak as well. I don't know, Chappie, Miposhka, can you do anything here? I feel like FNG's got your number. He's just going to blink crush you. That's what he's going to do. He's found that CK. Oh god! What? The TA absolutely shreds him. The CK is gone for 80 seconds. Goes stick hook shots in with a blade mail up. Iceberg pops the refraction, force snap out of the cogs, but turns the fight. He's found the gap. He's found the hole to sit in, and he's killed them all off. Good game is called. And Team Empire tap out of that one. Team Spirit, what a showing with FNG Slardar. An absolute beauty.
Radiant victory.
I think I might have lost connection to Discord at this point. So, unfortunately, we can't hear the wonderful, wonderful words of gods because I'm not connected anymore. How unfortunate. But we'll be back in a couple of minutes, hopefully with gods returning as we get ourselves into game number 3 coming up soon here. Team Spirit up against Team Empire for the CIS qualifiers for the Kiev Major. I'm Gareth and gods was just here, but we'll see you in a little bit.